You know, all around the world they have funeral gatherings, and they deal with it in different ways. The Irish have their wigs. Some people beat their chests, roll around the dirt, gnash their teeth, wail and cry. But I think in New Orleans, they got the best way. We start in the street, play some good jazz, and everybody joins in and falls. Until we get to the hall. Then they party. This is for Bowen Island, my buddy Little George. But up to 7 weeks ago, George was George. George was back. George was great. George was fun. Yet something happened. You know, not sure what it was, but it was short, and now we don't have George. But you know what? We do have George. We're always going to have George. You know, you're going to see some guy in the distance with a backpack slung over his shoulder, and you're going to do like I've done a couple of times. You're going to do a double take, and you're going to say, Christ, that's George. He's going to be around with us for a long time. Well, I look around and I see all these islanders, all these friends. And you know, he was a friend of everybody. You know, I mean, everybody here has a memory. Everybody has a smile. Everybody here has a story, some of which can't be told. And, you know, I look around and I don't care what you say about Billy Carter. I think he's a good guy. So I sort of promised my buddy, well, there was two things that came up, okay? That, you know, we never explicitly talked about this. There was an understanding I was just going to do it. And the only thing that comes through, no ministers, no cops, okay? So. And I sort of promised them this will be probably different. It's not a memorial service, it's not a celebration, it's a gathering. It's a gathering of Islanders for someone that will be with us forever. So I'm going to start it off. What's going to happen? I'm going to chat away for a minute. And if anybody wants to say anything anytime, get up. Just give me a little signal and I'll make time for it. So I'm going to start this off a little bit. And then we're going to get into whatever people want to say. Afterwards, there's what do I have to say? The community's come through big time. There's been a lot of people involved in pulling this whole thing together. Bowen TV George. I'm not going to single out a lot of people, but he must put about 16 hours in putting this video together with music. And after this talk part's over, and that's going to be run continuously, and I urge everybody to get a chance to see it. He's also going to post it on Bowen TV, right? Yes, okay. He's also, I've asked him, and he's doing this, he's videotaping this whole thing. There's Peter Schmidt can't be here, Joan can't be here, there's an arm length full of people that want to be here that had previous commitments. The Davies group are off on their annual visit. All of them couldn't be here. Some of them came back to be here. So there's these two guys sitting in the pub. They're sitting on their bar stools, one beside the other. There's a big guy and there's a little guy. And they've been there for a while. And I'm not the big guy, okay? I just heard the story. Elizabeth, it's okay. And in comes these two women, quite attractive women. And they sit on these two bar stools on the other side of the big guy. And the little guy goes, big guy goes, he says, talk to him. So the big guy's not shy, he turns around and says, hi, how are you? And they talk about Bowen Island, he introduces himself. And then one of the girls looks out and says, and who's your friend? And the answer, my name is George. I'm from the French side of the island. Now, all of these are true. They might be, I've heard them through. I learned so much about Bowen Island from my little buddy, you know. I worked at the building center, go deliver stuff, we drive down the street. We get out the end of Windjammer, you say, that's the first septic tank on Bowen Island out of this development. And then just up the street, he'd point and say, see that house? I built that house. But I put it on the wrong lot. There's Bridget. Your eyes are beautiful today, Bridget. So I learned a lot about Bowen. I hope people are going to have a chance to talk about old Bowen before I got here. When they went way back, there weren't very many people on the island. He was a homesteader. He's an original. We lost an original, and that's a sad thing. Probably, as far as I know, one of the last people, other than family and maybe EMS, to see George and talk to him alive was Pat McKinnon. Which, when I thought of it, was really appropriate. Now you see, when George was born, his parents lived in what his family lived in what's now Doc's Pub. And according to what I know, Patrick met the water taxi, the boat, whatever it was, and carried little George up to the house. So it was sort of appropriate that he was perhaps the last buddy to see him. And speaking of dogs, one of the things that we have talks about a whole bunch of stuff. One of the things that you always said to me, we talked about maybe drinking too much, but he'd say to me, buddy, Bill, I was conceived on a barroom floor. I may be small, but I ride a big horse.
He was a virgin, remember?
You stole one of my lines. I'm going to read a poem now, to start with, from Donna and Patrick.